Breaking news that's shaking diplomatic circles. Trump's ready to shake Putin's hand while completely erasing the former partner from his contact list. And this is far more dangerous than you might think. What's happening behind closed doors is sending shockwaves through NATO headquarters. The whispers are getting louder. A massive shift is coming, and it's not what anyone expected. The game is changing, and some players are about to be removed from the board entirely. Let me show you something disturbing. While everyone's watching the battlefield, Macron and Starmer are mobilizing 50,000 troops. They call it deterrence. But here's what they're not telling you. It's a preparation for what comes next. Think about it. Why would they need such forces if they're planning for peace? But here's where it gets truly concerning. The weapons pipeline is transforming into a commercial operation. No more free supplies. Pay or stay defenseless. And this reveals a pattern that nobody's talking about. The disputed region is being quietly isolated. Its leadership is becoming irrelevant to the big players. NATO's developing its own strategies. The EU's manipulating oil markets. And the US, well, that's where the real story lies. Remember how everyone promised unwavering support? Those promises are evaporating. The Financial Times just dropped a bombshell, citing Western officials who confirm a dramatic shift in White House attitudes. Trump sees Putin as someone to deal with directly, while other players are now viewed as obstacles to real agreements. This isn't just politics. It's a complete reversal of everything we've been told for the past 2 years. And here's the question nobody's asking. Is this a carefully orchestrated plan, or are we watching the collapse of Western unity in real time? The signals are clear, but the implications are devastating. While the mainstream media focuses on daily skirmishes, the real decisions are being made in shadows, and those decisions might reshape the entire Eastern European landscape forever. Think this is just another political reshuffle? Look closer. The pieces are moving into position for something much bigger, and the next phase is already beginning. The global chessboard is shifting before our eyes, and what's happening in the corridors of power reveals a dramatic transformation. Trump's new approach has sent shockwaves through European capitals. They're scrambling to adapt, but the rules of the game have already changed. Let's look deeper at what's unfolding. NATO's internal documents, previously hidden from public view, expose a complete overhaul of arms supply mechanisms. General Christopher Grinkovich is being positioned to oversee special European financial accounts, a move that bypasses traditional bureaucratic channels and accelerates military logistics to unprecedented levels. The system is evolving into something we've never seen before. Take Germany's recent purchase of 8 Patriot batteries from the US, a direct replacement for 3 systems sent to the conflict zone. It's a calculated exchange. Weapons flow east, while new, paid-for equipment fills the gaps. This isn't charity anymore. It's pure business. The implications are staggering. Former Soviet republics are becoming bargaining chips in a larger negotiation. European leaders are quietly preparing for autonomous military actions, setting up their own contingents while facing mounting economic pressures at home. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. Trump's team isn't just distancing themselves from current leadership in the disputed territory. They're deliberately creating direct channels to Moscow. The real decisions are being made in back rooms, far from public view. Oil tariffs are becoming the hidden weapon in this economic warfare. European industry is feeling the squeeze, and populations are growing restless. The question isn't just about military strategy anymore, it's about survival. What's truly fascinating is how this affects you, watching this right now. These shifts in global power aren't just headlines. They're reshaping everything from your energy bills to your job security. The world order is being rewritten, and we're all part of this historic moment. But there's one player we haven't mentioned yet, a force that could completely upend this carefully constructed new reality. The economic chess game continues as discussions swirl around a potential $300 million resource package. Expert analysts suggest this figure will be part of a broader deal, but crucial questions remain. Will European partners honor their financial commitments? More importantly, could Trump's new approach become a convenient excuse to dramatically reduce support for the conflict zone? Against this backdrop, French President Macron has made a bold move, proposing deployment of up to 50,000 French and British military personnel to the northern Black Sea region. The official stance frames this as a peacekeeping force, ready to deploy immediately following any peace agreement. British Prime Minister Starmer has confirmed the plan's readiness, suggesting implementation could begin within hours of approval. This development has stirred significant interest in diplomatic circles. Paris and London appear to be positioning themselves as key players, creating an impression of control over future settlement processes. Their strategy seems aimed at securing influence in post-conflict arrangements in the politically turbulent area. Meanwhile, Washington continues intense negotiations regarding potential oil tariffs targeting countries purchasing Russian fuel. Earlier proposals included a dramatic 500% tariff as a punitive measure. However, economic advisors have raised red flags, warning that such action could trigger domestic fuel price spikes across America. For Trump, this presents a significant political gamble. Surging gasoline prices could damage his electoral prospects more effectively than any other factor. The complex interplay between military positioning and economic warfare shows how the stakes continue rising in this geopolitical pressure cooker. Each move carries potential consequences that could reshape not just regional dynamics, but global alignments. What do you think about these developments? Share your thoughts on whether economic pressure or military presence will prove more decisive in the coming months. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart. I want to hear your take. The economic chess game continues to unfold with unprecedented complexity. The proposed suspension of tariffs for up to 180 days stands as a critical move, pending congressional approval. While senators appear willing to grant Trump negotiating authority, the White House maintains a firm stance. No congressional conditions, asserting that such decisions fall strictly within presidential jurisdiction. Adding another layer to this strategic pressure, the EU's contemplation of new Russian oil price caps creates ripples across global markets. Bloomberg reports suggest a proposed ceiling 15% below market rates. Using recent 10-week averages as a benchmark, this would establish a cap around $50 per barrel. However, the situation remains delicate, with Greece, Malta, and Cyprus yet to signal their agreement. Though sources indicate these nations lean toward compromise, the EU's requirement for unanimous consent among member states adds complexity to the equation. The diplomatic dance between Western powers resembles a high-stakes poker game. Both the US and European nations display a calculated mix of firmness and flexibility, simultaneously pushing forward while carefully measuring each step. They're racing against time while paradoxically appearing to delay, constructing strategies that could collapse at any moment. This intricate bargaining process reflects deeper concerns about maintaining diplomatic credibility while pursuing practical solutions. The situation in the northern Black Sea region remains a central factor, influencing every calculation and decision. Western powers must balance their strategic interests with the reality of changing global dynamics. The international diplomatic arena has transformed into a complex card game where true intentions remain hidden, and the stakes escalate daily. Each player holds their cards close, waiting for the right moment to reveal their hand. What do you think about the current situation? Who's bluffing, and who's ready to change the game entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments. The current situation with arms supplies and peacekeeping initiatives isn't spontaneous. It's the culmination of deep-rooted processes. What we're witnessing today stems from months of Western self-assessment regarding their capabilities, interests, and most importantly, strategic failures. Initially, there was an illusion of perfect unity between the US and its allies. But as time passed, cracks began showing in this facade. European nations faced mounting internal pressures, soaring inflation, an energy crisis, farmer protests, and public discontent over budget allocations. These factors steadily eroded the concept of moral obligation toward the former fraternal ally. Reality hit hard. Eternal mobilization of public support proved impossible. Society grows weary, and with fatigue comes skepticism. The turning point arrived when EU countries started openly discussing limits. Germany, France, and Italy increasingly advocated for a more realistic approach to supporting the conflict zone. Meanwhile, the U.S. presidential campaign brought Donald Trump's stark departure from his predecessor's policies into focus. His message was clear. No more altruism, everything comes with a price tag. This marked a new beginning in international relations. NATO allies, recognizing this shift in U.S. policy, began adapting by creating alternative mechanisms for weapons financing. The alliance essentially shifted to a we pay, U.S. sells model. This represents a fundamental transformation in how military support is structured. The northern Black Sea region's situation has become a catalyst for reviewing long-term strategic planning. Western powers are now weighing their commitments more carefully, considering both domestic constraints and international obligations. This isn't just about military aid. It's about reshaping the entire approach to regional security. These changes reflect a broader reassessment of Western influence and capabilities. The politically turbulent area has become a testing ground for new forms of international cooperation and support mechanisms. What do you think about these changes in Western strategy? Leave your point of view in the comments. The American approach is shifting towards minimal involvement, while a new security architecture in Eastern Europe takes shape. The Franco-British contingent proposal isn't improvisation, it's a calculated signal. Brussels clearly sees that if the US steps back, the EU must step forward independently. A rapid response peacekeeping framework is already in place, allowing forces to deploy within 24 hours of any agreement. This isn't just muscle flexing. It's about maintaining control over how the former Western partner will be governed once hostilities cease. The plan shows remarkable foresight in an increasingly complex situation. The oil price mechanism, marketed as sanctions but serving as a negotiation tool, reflects the EU's delicate balancing act. They're trying to pressure Russia while protecting their own markets. The new 15% below market price cap isn't arbitrary. It's designed to reduce revenues without completely freezing trade. However, achieving unanimous agreement becomes increasingly challenging as internal EU divisions deepen. Greece, Malta, and Cyprus fear significant losses in shipping and insurance sectors. Their cooperation will come at a high price, both financially and politically. Meanwhile, a complex political game unfolds in Washington. Republicans, Democrats, and Trump himself are maneuvering to maximize political capital from the situation. The proposed aid package for the conflict zone has become a bargaining chip in domestic politics. The EU's preparedness for independent action marks a significant shift. They're ready to fill any vacuum left by reduced American engagement, particularly in managing the future of the politically turbulent area. This suggests a new phase where European powers take more direct responsibility for regional security. These developments indicate a broader transformation in global power dynamics. The West is recalibrating its approach to Eastern European security, with the EU potentially stepping into a leadership role previously held by the US. What do you think about these changes in European security policy? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective matters. The oil tariff debate for nations cooperating with Russia has become a pivotal pressure point within the White House. A potential tariff removal could lower fuel prices, scoring crucial electoral points. However, maintaining these tariffs risks notable economic impact. This creates a situation where foreign policy decisions are directly tied to domestic electoral calculations. As military operations approach their conclusion, discussions about Europe's future architecture grow louder. Key questions emerge. Who will serve as security guarantors? Who gains access to infrastructure rebuilding? Who becomes the financial patron of the new political order? These matters are being discussed behind closed doors, masked by weapons deliveries and peacekeeping missions. Every Western move today represents an investment in post-war influence. Macron and Starmer's statements can be interpreted as attempts to seize leadership in this process. Trump's careful rhetoric suggests a desire to maintain room for maneuver, avoiding commitments while refusing to exit the geopolitical stage. His strategy is straightforward. Others pay while the US directs. The question remains: who will accept these rules? A new political geography is taking shape. In this landscape, the leader of the disputed territory no longer determines when peace begins. His fate appears to be discussed without his participation. The US, EU, and Britain are writing scenarios where the former Western partner becomes merely an object of discussion rather than an active participant. The region of instability finds itself at a critical juncture, with its future increasingly shaped by external powers rather than internal decisions. Major powers are positioning themselves for influence in the post-conflict era, while the politically turbulent area's agency diminishes. What do you think about the current situation? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart, and I want to hear your take. We're witnessing a remarkable shift in the geopolitical landscape. The former Western partner is rapidly losing its central position as new power dynamics emerge. Donald Trump's pragmatic approach is reshaping the rules of engagement, pushing Western allies toward more practical cooperation models. The country at a crossroads finds itself increasingly sidelined in its own story. While Zelensky's influence diminishes, Putin emerges as the key figure in potential settlement talks. This transformation isn't happening by chance. It's a carefully orchestrated reconfiguration of regional influence. NATO's development of accelerated arms transfer mechanisms signals preparation for significant changes. Meanwhile, the EU leverages economic pressure through oil pricing strategies, indicating a multifaceted approach to influence the situation in the disputed territory between Russia and the West. What's particularly telling is the emergence of a rapid response peacekeeping force, ready to deploy to the politically turbulent area within hours. This isn't just about maintaining order. It's about establishing new control mechanisms and power structures. Behind closed doors, a complete reset of the regional game is being prepared. New balances, new agreements, new rules. While public statements emphasize peace and stability, the real focus is on strategic positioning for future influence. The country marked 404 appears to be losing its agency in determining its own future. Decisions are increasingly made in distant offices rather than on the battlefield. We're seeing a transition where the former fraternal ally becomes more of a chessboard than a player. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's about the nature of that change. Will this lead to genuine peace, or are we merely witnessing a shift to a new phase of competition with different faces and different slogans? The region of instability seems poised for transformation, but the direction remains uncertain. What do you think about the current event? Leave your answer in the comments.